Hey YouTube, welcome back to another edition of Cycle QMX. I'm your host, Ryan Wood, and today I got something more in store for you. We're continuing to show you how to build your very own QMX. How to build your own off-road wheelchair. In some people's cases, they're just going to take their regular recumbent bike and convert it into a four-wheeler. Call it whatever you want. We're going to call it a QMX. And so if you haven't seen my other videos already, go ahead and check those out so it gets you all up to date on what's going on today. Otherwise, we're going to get right into it. So stay tuned. Alright, so let's get going. So if you haven't seen already, we got a CNC plasma cutter, and I'm able to do pieces like this. Coming out pretty nice. And then there's pieces like this that don't come out so nice. This is what happens when the plasma cutter decides to turn off on you because there's not enough air pressure. So on top of getting a CNC plasma table, which is just the table by itself, you also have to get a plasma cutter and an air compressor. So if you decide to get one of these things, make sure you have all those already. If not, you're going to have to get each one of those individually, and depending on the size of your air compressor could get kind of expensive. You're going to want something with a large amount of volume because the CNC plasma cutter does use a lot of air. And otherwise that motor, your compressor is just going to be running the whole time, which is what's happening right now. My compressor runs the whole time that the plasma cutter is cutting. And sometimes it can't even keep up with the amount of air that the plasma cutter needs to continue the cut, especially at the 1/4 inch. So that's what happened here. The plasma cutter decided to turn off, and at the last moment didn't cut the last little bit. You can see here on the back side it didn't even try to cut it. It just turned off. So something to think about if you're getting a plasma table or a plasma cutter. But otherwise, this is pretty much what they should be looking at, pretty clean. So I have a couple components here. I have this one, which I have made to go into the back, which will replace these pieces right here. So we have these long uprights, and I'm going to replace them. That's only about, let's say, 3/16 thick plate, not very thick at all. For this, we're going to go to a 1/4 inch thick plate. This is going to be heavy duty, especially with the bigger motors, the 3,000 watt, the 5,000 watt. Just that motor alone, I want to say, is about 25 pounds. I know for sure the 3,000 watt is at least 20 pounds to 25 pounds, and the 5,000 watt is at least 25 to 30 pounds. It's pretty heavy, so keep that in mind. That's a lot of weight to be sitting out there. But anyways, so this little curved piece here fits right nice onto our piece here. So we'll be able to cut this off, cut this whole thing off, put this on there, and I'll show you where else this fits into. So it's got this little notch in it, so I made it to fit in right there. So it goes right on the back side here and lines right up with that groove right there, so that way I can put a bolt in it and lock it down and then tack it into place. I guess theoretically you could just bolt it on there, but with the one bolt, it's going to have a tendency to tip because there's no two places to lock it in, so it's just going to swivel on that one bolt. I guess you could drill another hole right here and then drill another hole in the plate and then have 2 points of contact and lock that in. But for my purposes, I'm actually going to weld this on here because I don't want this coming loose, and this is pretty much should be part of the structure of the rear swing arm. It is part of the rear cage. Most of them have a bolt on, and they also have it slide in and out for some type of chain adjustment. But we've already fixed the chain adjustment by building our dropouts that look like this, that are cambered, so that the motor can slide up and back. We didn't need that. And tension the chain as we need it. Now that I brought you all up to speed, so we have our disc brake mount, we have our motor mounts, and now we have our rear cage mounts. which are going to allow us to connect the cage. So all I got left now is to do some grinding. I'm going to actually cut these tabs off right here. These ones right here, I'm going to go ahead and cut these off. And this, see, they had to put this brace in here because normally all the weight of your bike is on these two little pieces here, and because they're so long, they're kind of actually flexy. And when you get rock crawling or moving around, it's going to want to twist this in here. And so that's why I'm going to weld mine into place. Typically they bolt on with 2 points of contact, so you have one here, and then this is your adjustment for your chain. But we're going to go ahead and cut all this off and add a disc brake mount. So we've got a disc brake mount. That's going to go up kind of like so, which will give us a new disc brake mount capability. So we can add a rotor onto the back of here. Some of the newer model cages come out of Sun Trikes. Actually, for the Baja Trike, it has a disc brake mount on it, and it's also a 17 mil axle. So this is 14 mil, which is pretty standard, and the Baja Trike uses 17 mil. So if you want to get a Baja Trike rear end, it will all have the disc brake mount on here already, but it's going to be on the, I would say, left side. So if you're sitting on the bike, this would be the left side. So it's my left. And that's typically where the disc brake is on. Even on your regular mountain bike, the brake will be on the left side in the rear. Now, in my case, because I am running a brushless motor, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's starting to rain, and I got this metal roof in here, and it's getting kind of loud. So I may have to stop filming. Stay tuned. Alright YouTube, the rain is getting kind of loud. I will have to speak up, but what I'm going to do is just go ahead and get to the grinding and the cutting, and that way you don't even have to listen to it. We'll just hear some grinding and cutting, and be able to do some fast forward motion, save some time while I go ahead and cut these off and keep you entertained. So stay tuned as we continue. Now maybe losing power. I don't know. Just keep watching. I guess everybody's taking refuge from the rain. Even Scooby came in. What you got over there, Scooby? Oh, you found me a glove. Good job, buddy. How are you doing today, huh? And he's all wet. It's raining really good outside. Let me go ahead and show you. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's raining. Oh, there's Chicken. Smarty Pants. What are you doing out there, Smarty Pants? Getting rained on. This Smarty Pants getting rained on. I guess she doesn't care. Living the dream. What do you think, Scooby? Raining hard enough yet? He's living the dream too. I guess we better get back to work and living the dream over here. I've just about trimmed those off. I'm about halfway through on this one right here. And once I get those cut off, I'll go ahead and sand them down, grind them, clean them up, remove a little bit of the paint so that I go ahead and tack weld our new pieces on. Stick with us. Doing Scooby. Scooby's back. Hey, buddy. It's all rainy out there. What you doing, huh? You got stuff all over the place. You gonna let me work? I gotta try and get some work done here. Trying to film a YouTube. Don't you know, Scooby? I guess Scooby doesn't care. We're trying to film. Hey, buddy. It's raining out there. Can we get back to work? You just gonna hang out for a minute? Okay, you just hang out. I'm gonna keep cutting, okay? Stay tuned. Oh, I love the smell of metal in the morning, don't you? That's it. All chopped up, cleaned up. Now we just gotta hit with the sander. A little grinding. You know what I say? Bada boom, bada bing. So we're gonna go ahead and switch over to the sander. I like having two grinders so that I'm not always having to switch the heads out. So I just keep one with the sander on it and then one with the cutter on it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you run two grinders or do you keep switching the pads back and forth? Let me know. Grind time. Always helps if you plug it in. Safety third. In case you're wondering, I'm using a 60 grit DeWalt paddle sander. Cuts down through the material real quick without actually having to put a grinding wheel on it, and still leaves a relatively smooth surface, perfect for welding. Also removes any kind of paint, anything like that. Makes quick work of it. So let's go ahead and finish this side, and I'll go ahead and do the other side. Woo-wee! Get some arm pump when you're doing that. Just holding on to that grinder. Whew. Oh, you can see, temperature's dropping. Start to see my breath out here. May get a little snow. Still raining. Stay tuned. All right, there's one side all cleaned up. I just got to do the other side. I'll go ahead and do this off camera, save time, and then I'll come back and get these tacked on. All right, folks. The rain's cut down a little bit, so hopefully you can hear me a little bit better. Just got this all finished grinded up. Nice and clean. Ready to weld. So now that we have that done, now we just have this cage by itself. I guess I could build these from scratch, but it'd take a lot more time to bend and jig and set all this up as opposed to just buying one and then modifying it. Let me know in the comments below or drop me an email if you think I should start manufacturing these with these tabs already on them, like so. So that way you could just go ahead and buy this pretty much off the shelf from our website and mount it to your recumbent bike as a quad cycle. Now, if something you're interested in, let me know. Otherwise, we'll just sell you the weldables and you can go ahead and do all this yourself. Might as well. Ain't got nothing else to do during this pandemic. Stay tuned. Alright, as I was working on this little piece right here, just started raining again. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's pretty loud in here. But anyways, we'll continue. So I'm gonna mount this onto here like so. I got this little notch in here to help me line it up with the existing swing arm wheel bolts location dropout. I don't know if I can keep film with this rain. I don't know if you guys can hear it or not. It's pretty loud. Anyways, we'll keep filming. Maybe I'll just put some music over it. Gotta get this done. Alright, now that we got that all cut up, whether you choose mechanical disc brakes or you go with the Tektro hydraulic disc brakes, either one, we're going to want to put disc brakes on this. So with our disc brake mount, I guess I could have cut a little more material out here, just a little weight saving. Maybe on future models I'll have that, but for this one, this is what we get, big chunk of steel. And how this is going to work is our brake caliper is going to go right on there with the little mount, and this whole assembly is going to go right inside here, just like such. And now we'll have a disc brake mount. Now, if you're going to do the posi differential, typically these would go out on the end here, and you would want to have your disc brake mounted directly to your wheel, and then your disc brakes out here on the end, like such. And you'll put one on this side and then one on the other side, and that way you have dual rear disc brakes for that independent differential. I guess you could do that on this as well, since with the one wheel drive, actually only one wheel is turning, and that one wheel is the only wheel that's locked to the brake. So the other wheel pretty much doesn't do anything. So I guess technically you could put disc brakes on both sides, regardless if you're running posi differential or just a single wheel drive. Keep that in mind, future nailers. For today, I'm gonna put mine on the inside, and I'm only gonna have the one wheel drive. Got it? Keep it posted. This is our part, a little ready to go. Do a little cleanup on it. Next, now that we've got our parts all cleaned up, I think we're about ready to weld. What do you think? Pretty simple, straightforward. You noticed I kind of shortened this up. Typically these rear ends kind of stick off pretty far and make the wheelbase on the bike pretty long. I try to keep this as short as possible to stick with the original wheelbase. I guess Scooby's decided to join us. The rain has slowed down a little bit, but he is soaking wet. On to the next part. I guess what we have left now that the grinding and the cutting and all that stuff is done is to go ahead and do our alignment. Go ahead and start lining stuff up. You clamp that on there. Alright, so this is the question about jigging. Do we, A, weld this onto here first, try to get it as straight as possible, and then weld it onto the bike? Or do we weld this part onto the bike first, and then weld the cage on there? I'm kind of leaning towards welding it onto the cage first, and that way I could use my table to not only keep them aligned this way, but then also this way, because you want to make sure that it's what you say is perpendicular to this part itself. So I want it to be at a 90-degree angle coming off of here, and we also need it in a specific location along this rail in order to meet with our swing arm. So that being said, I guess you have to stay tuned to see what we do.